Thank you for being with us. I'd like to welcome my guest, Ralph Nieves. Ralph, thanks for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
I'm so excited that you're here to talk with us because I think the work that you're doing is so amazing, but you also have this really amazing background. Can you share with us a little bit about your background?
Of course. I was born in Puerto Rico. Family moved to New York City. Joined the Navy when I graduated from high school. I enlisted in the Navy, spent 8 years on active duty, decided I wanted to be a police officer, so I got out of the Navy, became a police officer, but I stayed in the Navy Reserves. Years later, when I retired from the police department, I got recalled back to active duty in the Navy. Spent several years on active duty and finally retired from the Navy in 2012.
Do you think that people in the community misunderstand the role of law enforcement? And what advice would you give to the community to better partner with law enforcement? What do you think the community could benefit knowing about law enforcement?
I'll say something my wife tells me all the time. Listen. And it works both ways. The officers need to listen better, the community needs to listen better, and the reality is that you have to have a dialogue. And a dialogue is a two-way communication, not a one-way.
What have been the most surprising stories of the community partnering with law enforcement that you've witnessed in your time in Oxnard PD?
I stopped the guy. And Bobby was probably 6'7".
Oh my word. He's like a giant.
And I'm looking at him. And I ran him. I turned my radio down really low. He comes back, he's got a warrant.
Oh my gosh.
And then I hear sirens.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? Grandma saw him and I standing there, and she called the police department and said, Bobby's going to beat up Officer Nieves, and if you don't send him help, he's going to be hurt.
Oh, wow.
Bobby looks at me and goes, are you going to arrest me? And I said, yes. And he goes, I'm going to beat your... And I says, no, you're not. Because by the time you may get your first shot in, but all those sirens are going to be here. Wow. And I am going to have no choice but to use as much force as I need to defend myself. Wow. So do you want me to use force on you? Because I know you're ready to do it to me, or do you want to just turn around and put your hands behind your back? And Grandma says, Bobby! And all of a sudden he turns around and puts his hands behind his back.
Oh my gosh.
It was...
Wow.
But, you know, things like that, they stick with you forever.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that.
I remember one that a young gal kept running away, and Dad couldn't do anything with her. And finally I asked the guy, I said, why are you fighting so much? Well, she doesn't have a mom, and she keeps running away. And I said, don't you have family? And he said, I don't want to bother my family. I said, you have to. And got him to call his sister and that, and it was resolved because the family unit got back together. And that was one of the things that I found. If you find the right in, like with Bobby, grandmas will make them toe the line. There is such a respect for family amongst those kids, and even the little guys that were doing all the misdeeds, when mom or grandma spoke, they listened.
That's amazing.
And that. So you have to find the avenue in order to open the dialogue to get them.
You're doing something really amazing now, though, with National Latino Peace Officers Association. Can you tell us about that organization?
Of course. Years ago, there was a disparity in promoting Latinos in law enforcement back in the early 70s. And a highway patrol officer named Vicente Calderon and John Peraz got together and said, we've got to do something. And they formed a Latino organization to try to ensure that there were more Latinos getting promoted. Within the highway patrol was their initial, but then it spread, and as they were in other areas, San Jose was the first actual chapter that got together, and they asked for promotions in San Jose and in other law enforcement areas. And it's like we've always said, is we don't want preferential treatment. We want equal treatment. If I have the capability, the skills that you're looking for, then I want to be promoted into the positions. And as time grew on, I became familiar with the organization in 1980 at Oxnard Police. When I was at the Oxnard Police Department, we formed a chapter, and we've had the chapter there on and off. And our focus is to ensure that we help the community understand law enforcement, but we also have the responsibility to help law enforcement understand the community. Wow. And just because you're a police officer and you're working in a community doesn't mean that you understand that community. One of the other things that we've done for several years is the Oxnard Police Department, the Police Officers Association, came up with Shop with Santa. Oh. And at Target, and we've been a partner with them since it started. Wow. We raise money and we donate to them, and then we take children on the given day. Santa comes, we have them, and then an officer will walk with a child through the store, and they get a $200
wow
credit card, but they also Target discounts everything 10% that day when they come through.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the amazing part of it is that the children are so selfless. I had the ability to walk with the children with one child every year so far, and the first young gal wanted to buy things for her brothers. The second young man said, no, I've got to get my mom a coat. She doesn't have a coat. Oh. And they're always thinking about them.
That's amazing.
And they'll buy dishes, frying pans, irons. And I'm amazed that these young children are doing this. And one young guy wanted a certain toy. And he went in, we picked the toy out, and then he realized, I can't buy my brother anything. I can't buy my mom anything. And I said, well, why don't we switch to, it was a tablet. Instead of buying the big tablet with all this memory already built in, why don't we go to the smaller tablet and buy memory for it? And he looked at that and he goes, oh. So he immediately,
right.
No, I really wanted this one. He immediately put it back, went over, picked the smaller tablet, got the memory, the extra memory. And then he went shopping for his siblings.
Well, I'd like to encourage everyone to look up the National Latino Peace Officers Association, the Ventura County chapter. You'll find it on our website, so that way you can find the link. They have some events coming up. Please support them. This is an amazing organization for our community, and I hope you check them out. Thank you so much, Rafael.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Take care.